Well, right now on the program, we want to take a look at interest rates. Obviously, that is a big topic of conversation on the farm and ranch and really across the country with where interest rates are and how much it is impacting our day to day lives, but also what does it do for our operating loans on the farm and ranch, things like that, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we're going to talk about that and we're going to learn more about how FBN Finance is helping farmers and ranchers through their programs and much more. Joining us for a conversation, he is the GM of FBN Finance, the Farmers Business Network. Dan English is with us here today on the show. Dan, thanks for the time. Appreciate you being here. Hope you're doing well.
Likewise.
Well, let's talk about this and let's set this up. I kind of alluded to there. Interest rates are such a hot topic. Inflation itself is such a hot topic. You know, we saw the Federal Reserve here just a few days ago. They held their key interest rates steady. It's all over the news. It's in our daily lives. It's something as well that's having a fairly sizable impact on farmers and ranchers here as we work into the summer months of 2024, isn't it, Dan?
It is. You know, I think a lot of farmers and ranchers were used to not really needing to worry as much about interest expense as a line item in their budget. And when rates really started to go up, over the last couple of years, that has unfortunately changed very much. And even this week, before kind of what I'll say, cautiously good news on the inflation side, the USDA raised some of their rates by 1/8 of a point, which hits a lot of producers. And there just continues to be a lot of pressure. And so it's something that we're seeing farmers want to manage more and more. You know, if they get $1,000 in from a random kind of sale, they're using that to pay down their operating loan as quick as they can, just to save it kind of every dollar and cent that they can on interest costs.
Well, I have to think too, with the way interest rates are right now, not only, you know, working on that operating loan, but I mean, what are you hearing from farmers in terms of, you know, what are they doing for equipment purchases? Or of course, the cost of inputs have been higher recently, land, et cetera. I mean, are we seeing some slowdown? It feels like we maybe have seen some slowdown in some of those segments of the ag industry, right?
Yeah, I think you've certainly, I don't know that we've seen kind of, we certainly know major outright price declines on land yet. I think, we would expect there to be some softness in the equipment market going forward. We think it's going to be a tough year for farmers, unfortunately. And so what that means is there's going to be more farmers selling equipment on the margin, more farmers selling land on the margin, and fewer farmers buying. And so, we don't expect that to have major price increases, particularly on the land side, but it won't be kind of the booming market that it's been, maybe the past few years, where you're seeing multiple people showing up at auctions with, really, really sky high bids. Anecdotally, at least what we've heard is, as opposed to there being 3-4 bidders kind of willing to pay any price, there might be one. And so it'll still go at a relatively high price, but there's not the depth in the market that there was before.
So how do farmers navigate some of these challenges? What can you share with them? Tips, tricks? What have you learned from your experience as the GM of FBN Finance? And we can talk about some of the things you guys are doing as well to help farmers with their financing. But I mean, what would you tell folks? I mean, how do we navigate this higher interest rate environment that we're seeing right now?
Well, I think the first thing is really understanding your cash flow. When are you marketing your grain? What prices are you selling it for? When are you paying your expenses? Are you getting terms on those expenses? So at FBN here, we have very robust input financing programs. You can either pay that with an input line from FBN or a operating line through FBN. We offer 0% for new customers who qualify for that. So that's a great way to reduce costs, particularly as we get in season here. And it's really just thinking line by line throughout the budget, as painful as that is. It's nobody wants to do it. But that's really what farmers need to do, is go through and say, hey, where can I, push back a payment, get terms on this? Where can I refinance something? Maybe have, frankly, kind of uncomfortable conversation with whoever's financing you, saying, hey, I know this is a variable rate. Is there any way to bring the rate down, and try and find those savings wherever they can? Because that's what it takes. And financing companies understand that. They know rates have gone up. They know folks are looking to save wherever they can. And so that's really what it's going to take.
Well, I know FBN, you guys have surpassed $2 billion with a B in financing for farmers through FBN Finance. Talk about that a little bit and maybe some of the different options that you guys have that farmers could take advantage of.
Yeah, so we offer real estate, operating equipment, and input financing here through FBN Finance. As you said, we recently crossed $2 billion total, which when we started out seemed like a number very, very far away. But we've built programs where we have instant approvals for real estate, operating, and equipment loans. So farmers can come in, fill out an application, get an approval. That whole process typically takes 10 to 15 minutes. And so as you're thinking about, well, I don't know if I want to spend the time and effort to get a rate or something like that, you can also go on our website, see the rates right there, know what you might be eligible for. And we also released a tool, AcreVision, last summer, which we've been continuing to upgrade, where you can go in, look at parcels, see what might be interesting, see what recent sales have been in your area, get a sense for what's happening in the market, and even look at your own farm and see, dig into what some of the options are to better manage it. And so really kind of across the board, we're trying to streamline the experience, bring as much data and transparency to the table for farmers on the finance side, just like we've done on the input side.
And to that point, Dan, if farmers work with you guys there at FBN Finance, is it similar to working with a traditional lender? Is there differences? I mean, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I would say, a lot of ways it's similar in some way. Like, we're going to be looking at some of the similar ratios. We're going to have some of the similar program requirements, things like that. I would say a couple of the areas where we really differentiate ourselves is one, just the online digital experience. So being able to come on, apply for a loan, get an instant approval as opposed to needing to wait, days or weeks and months in some cases to actually get that approval. The other is this is all we do. We're an ag company. It's not like we're walking out of a meeting with the local restaurant and then we need to think about a consumer loan. We're thinking about agriculture all day, every day here at FBN. And so that's something that we really pride ourselves on. And then just the experience of the team. On our loan and credit side, we have 15 plus average years of experience. A lot of people on the team are actually operators themselves. So deep personal knowledge of agriculture and really a desire to put the farmer first, which we would hope everybody in the market has. But unfortunately, with the consolidation that we've seen in banking and fewer banks being located in rural areas than what they were before, it's just not the reality anymore in the marketplace.
Well, I know you mentioned the website, fbn.com. I'm sure a great place to start to find more information, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. Encourage folks to log on there, see what kind of rate you could get, check out our input prices, do some research on land in your area with the AcreVision tool. It's a phenomenal resource for farmers and membership is free. And so all of that's accessible, which is great value.
Well, again, learn more at fbn.com. And with that, the GM of FBN Finance, Dan English. Dan, thanks for being with us here at the program today. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Jesse.